many different groups, and LGBTQ plus community as well. So like they need to figure that out.
Definitely. Yeah, it feels like the money and the support by the parent companies are the big key here. Like you look at Vine, and I really liked Vine as a platform, the sort of like ingenuity that would appear there, but Twitter just didn't have the capability to really push that forward, or like the funding or anything either. So it is Vine. It's Vine Redux with music, remixing, and a really more powerful algorithm, and a whole company like dedicated to making this a success. So, it's good for TikTok. I think Vine proved that this platform, it proved that short, really tiny video is really compelling, especially if it's easy to produce and you open it up to people to make all sorts of fun, creative stuff. Like, that's it. We want this. We don't want like Quibi or something,
Well, let's talk about Quibi.
Oh, Quibi. I have so much to say.
Yeah. So, like Vine made stars. Vine made some stars, sui generis, out of nowhere. Just they're huge stars. They've I think kind of migrated to TikTok. There is also some features of TikTok. You give a lot of credit to ByteDance, but people from the outside like me look at things like the really easy way to take it, to see a video, see what they're doing, copy the soundtrack and do it.
Yeah.
Little things like that make people more creative. I feel like that there's a UI advantage too.
Yeah, I think it's like the perfect storm. It was like the stars were aligned for them. I think it was like the platform made sense. It felt like there was an ease to it. Like it's the use of music, the use of sound effects, comedy, challenges, the mixture between like the discovery / like being able to follow the people you're following / then being able to go to the hashtags. I think it was just like the mix of everything. It made sense.
It's the perfect meme generator. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Being able to copy, repeat, and share.
And one thing we know about the Utes, they love their memes.
Love the memes.
Love the memes.
You know what, though? It's not just the Utes. I have a lot of friends in their 40s who love to send me spicy, dank memes, and I'm always surprised by it. I'm like, where did you find this on the internet? And why did you text it to me
at 4 o'clock in the morning? It's like a 50-year-old guy who loves rap. I feel like they're trying too hard.
No.
Yeah, sorry, Alex.
No, go ahead, Shira. Defend them.
No, because if you look at, there's this woman that's gone viral for being a vegan, Tabitha Brown, and she's in her 40s. She was an actress in LA. We didn't know her until March, and she just completely went viral. But I think it's a mixture.
Is that because ByteDance pushed her, or because?
I think it's a mixture. This is the thing. I do think you could have talent emerge and bubble to the top. That just happens on every platform. I think it's a mixture between that and then the algorithm seeing that people are liking it at a certain rate and commenting on it at a certain rate and watching it. And then if that does get in front of someone at TikTok and they say, wow, this person's amazing, they're also in an age demo that we want to cater to, let's like give them some love. Let's see if we do put this in the For You page, how many people will interact with it. But I think once they see no one's interacting with it, they're not going to like continue pushing it.
I mean, I'm looking at the World Health Organization. This seems like the least likely TikTok.
They did a campaign with them for washing your hands.
But they got a 1.8 million followers, 5.2 million likes. Some of their videos, this one's been viewed by 12.2 million people. If you're the World Health Organization, you're going, this is the place for us to get the word out. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting. Alex, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just thinking about what you said in your I want to explain to all opinions because I'm fascinated by how well Vine did before Twitter killed it, unfortunately, and how well TikTok has done, and how well it's Twitter itself. Because they all took something that we already had, videos, written word, whatever, and demanded the absolute version of it. And it's worked out very well. YouTube, on the other end of the spectrum, hour-long videos, documentaries, whatever, it's really great for that. And then in the middle is Quibi, this weird content. And I was hoping we could talk about it. I want to why
Quibi?
Why?
I mean, they were going to launch it like the economy of the year. Not ready yet. And everyone was on the go. And instead they launched it when everyone was coming.
And when they didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice.
Dropped it.
So, Shira, I'm going to put Shira on this spot because we're in Hollywood. So
I'm on the island Venice, so I'm a bit more of a hippie.
Not yet. I love Venice.
Yes.
We rented a house in the canals there.
Oh, cool.
I love it. It's most beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, But I feel like because of what's trending and because of your connections, because of you kind of do get the Hollywood. There is a Hollywood mindset, and for years, the word convergence. I mean years, like decades, like 20 years. The word convergence kept coming up. When is Silicon Valley going to meet Hollywood? And when is that convergence going to happen?
Yeah.
And what happened, in my opinion, is they were very disparate cultures. And Silicon Valley is YouTube. Silicon Valley is TikTok. Silicon Valley is Netflix. It's very different. And what Quibi to me was Jeffrey Katzenberg, former Disney executive, SK executive.
Not yet.
Meg Whitman. There's the convergence. She ran HP. Yes. To the crown. Tried to run for governor. I don't know. But I think that's why she's one of the two, because it's convergence. They still have this
It's the
dream.
ultimate. Yeah. It's like the top person in tech, the top person in entertainment media coming together to create the top platform.
It's high concept, which is what Hollywood does, right? Hollywood is all about high concept. And it's about deals, and you get the book deal, and you get the merch deal, and you get the da-da-da-da. And that's how they think. And so I think Hollywood's looking at TikTok, and they're looking at YouTube and saying, hey, these guys, well, we don't really understand what they're doing. Let's deconstruct it, figure it out, and compete with them. And you get...
Thing is, we saw this in the 90s when Verizon tried to do it, right? They were throwing money at people, and it just couldn't survive. I mean, naturally with the download, because you got it on your phone, there was a quote-unquote audience. There's a difference between an audience and a community. Yes. And that's what they don't realize. Like, you can get views anywhere, but, like, are they really going to care to be part of something bigger?
And that's why I think
Netflix has built a community. Like Netflix, the shows, like different shows have fan accounts and now viral feeds, and they're building like social media accounts for the LGBTQ community that's part of Netflix and the Black community that's part of Netflix. So people are coming together to connect with how they connect with the show. So it's now gone from just a platform and delivering a product to a community. And it took them how long? This day and age, we think that everything's going to happen overnight. And if we have more money, it can just happen. It's not the way it works.
I mean, Netflix for a decade was just DVDs by mail, and then they launched streaming. And I remember when that happened, we were all like, what are we going to do with streaming video? How do we get these to our TVs? And then, like, things started happening. We got the set-top boxes. The TVs got software that can actually stream.
By the way,
became the big thing. Yeah.
It goes both ways, because Silicon Valley, remember Apple wanted to be the set-top box. That's Apple also, Silicon Valley also wanted to get into that Hollywood game, but there just seems to be this barrier. You wrote, quit trying to make Quibi happen.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It came out of rage. It came out of like a lot of different things. Because I'm also a guy, I pay a lot of attention to entertainment too. Like, I review movies, I podcast about movies. Entertainment's a big part of like what I do and follow. So for me, it's entertainment and tech. I sat down with Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman at CES to talk about Quibi, and like none of their responses to anything seemed very compelling or interesting. I asked them, like, who wants this? Who's gonna watch this stuff? We have YouTube, we have Netflix, we have all these other sources for content, and they're like, they somehow believe they would be a compelling third option for a lot of people, something people would pay for to see these tiny shows, even though they have some big names, but the shows themselves, like, after I looked at them, they're fine, perfectly fine. If they were
I
on
love
Netflix,
Titus Burgess, but it somehow seems tone deaf during the COVID quarantine to be firing food cannons at chefs.
and have them eat it off the floor and the walls to make it's ridiculous. Like, it is one of those ridiculous, either something you'd expect on like 30 Rock, like just a ridiculous show that just wouldn't exist.
Like, in fact, half of Quibi's stuff looks like parody of real TV.
Yeah. Really. That's what it is. That's what it really feels like.
So,
and then, like, do you remember Vessel? Did you guys cover Vessel when they tried to do that, where they're like, we'll pay YouTubers $500,000 to $1 million to get their content early, like a week early or 2 weeks early? Like, that didn't even work.
I don't even remember that, but I look at these companies, and Go92, which was created by Verizon, which owns Engadget and TechCrunch, so that disclaimer's out there. But these companies can't even name these services properly. Like Go90 was called that because Verizon, they wanted you to go 90 and turn your phone,
Oh, just turn it sideways? Oh, that's good. Oh, that's brilliant.
And Quibi is quick bites of entertainment, because that's what I'm asking for, even if we're not being trapped at home in the pandemic.
Do you think it would have done better if people were commuting, they were on subways and buses and waiting in line?
I don't think fundamentally better. Like, if you're on the subway, you don't have steady internet access to watch a streaming video, so then you still have to pre-plan and download. You can't fave a show and just say, alert me when there's a new episode, but it doesn't auto-download like a podcast. If it worked like a podcast, maybe that would be better. Like a good podcast delivery system for video. That's something we don't quite have. That could be cool. But they don't do that. And when you're at home, you can't watch on your TV. They just absolutely didn't think about that. So that is like the first thing they're going to add. It's like Chromecast.
Yeah, aren't they changing that?
They are.
Yeah.
They are, but eventually, that should have been there from launch. So I was watching like the one of the shows with my wife in front of our 55-inch TV, and we had to watch it on our phone because like there was no way to get to my phone.
I know. I was trying to show Lisa.
It's not fun.
And I'm trying to cast it, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere.
Terrible idea.
As much as we're all complaining, I want them to succeed in a way because they spent so much money, and they're employing
$750 billion.
Wait, so this is actually real. Like half of LA is out of work, and I do think a part of me could be like resentful and be like, I wish I got a show there. I tried to get in, and of course it seems like stupid because you have these like really wealthy billionaires just creating something they think that we need and like throwing it in our faces, and they're like, eat it,
Yeah, it's good for you. Eat it.
But on the other
Take a quick bite.
it does do well. That means more people will be hired and more production will happen, and more like that is the positive to it. It's gonna be a hard process to win right now. I do think it's gonna be an uphill battle because once again they create so much and expect us all to consume it all at once, to be a success all at once. When you look at all the platforms that have become the mainstays, they built it was a slow roll over time. Like Spotify isn't what it is today when it started, over 10 years, like 15 years ago, or whatever, 13 years ago.
Well, and I think of what you did with Peace Inside Live, that you could, if you could with Quibi, you'd pivot right now and you do Zoom shows and stuff. But somehow you can't because they spent $1 billion for these big
almost $2 billion, and they have more money coming.
And you can't. But Shira Lazar and her buddies quickly put out a show that's a Zoom call that fits the needs of the moment. And that's what Quibi seems like they can't do. What if you were CEO, Shira? What would you do? With Quibi, what would you do? What would you do right now with Quibi? You're in charge.
I think it's a mix between all these platforms, between the big names, and then really like discovering new talents.
There's no room for that because only big names are on Quibi.
We're gonna have big like programs where it's like, submit your ideas. Like that's the thing that people don't get the importance of, like of breaking talent. Like you look at Orange is the New Black, Netflix. It was a breakout show. We didn't know any of that talent, the director, the writer. Like, these platforms have responsibility to create discovery as well.
I will correct you there. Orange is the New Black came from Benji Cohen, who made,
I didn't know who that was.
She made Weeds, like very popular shows on TV. So it all trickles down. But
Excuse me, sure, but I believe you're wrong. I believe that you created.
The key is that they took talent that already existed and like gave her room to flourish, right? Whereas I don't think Quibi is doing that. I do think a lot of these people are just like, you gotta get that Quibi money. Gotta go, pitch my show idea.
And I know those people. And also when you pre-shoot all this stuff, it's like the balance between you're not going to figure out what works. So you now spend so much money and more, I would say 80% or 90% might not even work based on what you see start working. So you don't need any room for error.
But they have enough money. I mean, they're not out of business. They have enough money that they could evolve and pivot, don't you think?
Yeah, that's the hope, that they won't be too attached. I don't think it's too late, but I just wonder, it'll take by year 2, I think they'll realize if things are not working.
And by the way, I should mention, like, their key technology is the ability to flip from vertical to portrait mode seamlessly, which it works. It's a very cool idea, actually, and it works, but I never want to watch anything in portrait mode. Like, that's the thing. They spent all this money and talent. Tom Conrad is the CTO. This guy knows streaming media, but yeah, it's well, not CTO, like product officer, right? But he knows streaming media. They have technical talent, and they've done something that we've never seen before. But the content is what we care about. So I could see them licensing that tech to like YouTube or something. But it's also shot. Yeah, it's shot in a different way too. So the directors had to shoot with the idea of framing for portrait and landscape at the same time, which seems super difficult. It's not good enough to make me
innovation. I mean,
yeah,
that's the thing. I love the innovation around that. And actually, these days for IGTV, and if you're using it for other platforms, you do need to be shooting in portrait and in wide. So it's like, I do think that's going to be the future, where cameras are going to be able to give you both sides.
You shoot both ways when you're shooting for Instagram?
Sometimes, so this is the thing. If you're shooting a video that's going to end up on YouTube, other platforms,
those are wide, right?
And then if you want to put it on IGTV too, and then
shoot it the other way.
Snapchat or do an Instagram highlight and story, you need to be shooting thinking about wide and vertical. And I do think that's the future. So I do think the platform is innovative and the tech is innovative, like what you said. I think ultimately the programming, the audience building is going to take time. And as long as they're patient with that and they're honest about their discoveries and what works and what doesn't, and moves towards what works.
Where you're making a 10-minute show, you're not making an episode. Therefore, our union terms don't apply or something. But yeah, go ahead, Alex.
So I didn't talk for a little bit there because I was fascinated by the conversation, but I want to jump in on the financial point about licensing the tech, how much money is going into this business, and that sort of thing. I see 0% chance that they can generate enough revenue as a software company licensing their flipping technology, which I just saw the screenshot. That was super cool. I would use that, but I wouldn't pay for it to generate enough revenue to kind of justify their valuation and the capital that has gone into this business. And the other thing we're talking about a lot is time. Time to find new shows, time to find new audiences, time to find new stars, new actors and directors and so forth. They don't have a lot of that without more money coming in 9-figure increments. And if you blow your launch and you don't drive a lot of early subscriptions when they're free for I think 3 months, you don't have a leg to stand on. And so I'm concerned that the next check might not come. And if it doesn't come, this whole thing folds pretty quickly. And you sell for $48 to Verizon probably. Dig hello employer. But we all saw this coming. It's the weirdest thing. This has been something that we've all known for years in the struggle at launch, and here it is struggling at launch. And I'm not even someone who's focused on streaming media per se. But I don't recall any single person I read on Twitter, the news industry, whatever, that was positive about this pre-launch, and sadly, it seems to be correct. Now that it's
They blew their load early. Not ready yet. And also, they're going to fail upward. My 2 favorite phrases.
Fail upward how, I guess, sure.
Hollywood
I think that
hit-driven business, right? That's
they fail.
They don't expect every movie to be a hit.
But this is they spent so much money on this and they raised so much money. In the end, Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman will be fine, and they'll end up getting acquired by one of their friends, and they'll fail upward. Meaning, like that ultimately it's not like a fail, and then they're gonna not be able to try
I'm
again.
not worried about their financial status.
Yeah.
But they may also be saying, look, when I was at Disney, not every movie was a hit, but the hits that were big paid for all the rest. Maybe they're just holding out for the hit, and they don't have it yet. But I'm not surprised. Apple doesn't have a hit yet on Apple TV Plus either.
What about the morning show?
Well, the difference is that Apple has several $100 billion of cash in the bank and, enormous operating cash flow per quarter. And I just can't figure out where Cody's going to stand up because, as you said, TikTok is 2 billion downloads in the last quarter. Video was shot here, so many people online. That is people caring about the product, willing to invest in, and so forth. And we have long-form stuff. We love Netflix, Amazon Prime, all the other stuff. Cody is just in this weird zone.
I don't need it. You're right. They also, it's a disadvantage because in order to take advantage of their one cool technology feature, you have to, you have to know what you're doing. You can't, some 14-year-old can't just do a video. And honestly, these days, that's a detriment. You need to be able to get everybody creative.
You also can't share anything. You can't share screenshots, you can't share video clips.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a weird, closed-off system.
That's Hollywood, not. So that's exactly why convergence never happened. Because Hollywood is so scared of technology and piracy and sharing, and they hate that. And Silicon Valley knows that's how you make it. And they're never the twain shall meet. They don't trust each other.
I feel like you either need to decide as a platform if you're going to be a lean back or lean in and interactive. And if you're trying to be both, that might work against you.
I couldn't decide whether to lean back or lean forward. But then when they launched the fruit cannon, I leaned back. But then Murder House Flip, I had to lean forward.
That is truly a good concept of insanity. Yeah, Murder House.
It's totally right. So I didn't watch all the shows. I tried to. Chrissy Teigen, Judge Judy. I don't know who would watch that. If you watch Judge Judy, you watch Judge Judy.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch a reality show of Chrissy Teigen. I don't want to watch her necessarily as a judge.
Right.
That's just their YouTube channel, right? Like, that's what Will Smith is doing. That's what everyone, like, all their fun stuff is on YouTube.
Well, they got to be looking at John Krasinski's Some Good News and going, why not us? I mean, here's Quibi. He spent almost $2 billion. John Krasinski's got sock puppets and a globe. And he's got probably many more views. I would guess many more views. He's certainly much more popular. But we don't know how well Quibi's doing. Maybe we're all wrong. Maybe Quibi's doing great. Maybe everybody's.
We saw from the stats, like, it fell from the top downloads list pretty quickly. Like, it slid down quickly. So that much we know it's not, like, popular download wise. Yeah.
So what's
Android is doing well. Android's doing well because they're on T-Mobile.
Ah, so you get it. You just get it. So what, Shira, is the real story behind Some Good News? You must know the dirt.
Oh, well, no, he started this in quarantine, which makes it, like, such a good story. It's in reaction to what's happening, and that's why, like, phenomenons or movements start when it just feels like it emerges out of the, out of what the consciousness or, like, what's happening right now. It feels authentic, and it's so authentic. And then the thing is, it just feels like he creates it himself. Like, it is him at home.
Which anybody who knows, as you very well know, how hard it is to do content, knows very well. He's got a team of dozens. I mean,
and that's the thing is, you know, someone like I'm thinking about, like, who's editing this, because they're making it look like not professional while it is professional.
Exactly.
So like fine balance.
That's hard to do. Yeah.
And sketches and, like, their video segments are just as good as late night shows.
Yep.
Right now.
Yep. So I'm trying to figure it out. I read an article that said his manager thought of it and called John, and they whipped it together in a couple of weeks. I think there's more to it than that. I've thought that probably John Krasinski's been telling his manager for 3 years, get me a late night show. I want a late night show. I should be on a late night show. And they thought, oh, here, we'll take it. We'll do this because it's better. It is. He should have a late night show. It's brilliant.
It's fine. I mean, like, it also seems like he's been pushing away from the Jim the Office identity for so long because he's been taking all these action roles.
The Jack Ryan role doesn't fit him. He is Tom Hanks. He is the next Tom Hanks. He's the nice guy, the everyman.
Or Quiet Place, which I think surprised us that he could write, direct, star in something like that. So I think that's good. I want to throw a shout out to the late night shows, though, because I do love how they've adopted the Zoom and the remote recordings, and, like, they're doing it in such fun ways. I love Conan O'Brien. He is doing a phenomenal job with that, and even Colbert, like, they got him a proper, Sony production camera, but it still feels a little off the cuff, which I think we can all relate to. Like, a lot of people are stuck at home. We're not all stuck at home, but the people who are can feel like, oh man, they're trapped just like we are.
It's a measure of, and so this I don't want to put down. There is real talent, and it's a measure of the very real talent that they were able to do something that is so different from what they did. And at first, I have to say, it was a little hollow watching John Oliver without an audience tell the same jokes. They fell home, they thudded, super flat, but they learned. And it got better and better. The writers learn, the producers learn, and so that's where you do see there is something to be said for real talent. And Hollywood's got that. I don't want to put them down.
Yeah, there's real talent everywhere. It's just a matter of, you gonna, like, say that this only matters because I put a ton of money against it. Or you're gonna say, like, it doesn't mean I know everything.
Yeah, and you can't deny that Quibi's well produced. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost too well produced, which is the weird cognitive dissonance I saw too. Like, if I'm watching vertical video, I expect it to look like a YouTube video or an Instagram Live or something. Like, I expect that. If it looks like a slickly produced Hollywood show, it just feels wrong in a weird way too. So I don't know how to describe that except like pure media dissonance for me.
Well, what do you think of Snapchat and the way they do vertical shows? Because they've been killing it, actually. Well, none of us really know that, but like the CPMs and money that people are getting on Snapchat is amazing. Like Will Smith started Will at Home. So like, why does that work versus this, possibly?
I mean, Snapchat was natively portrait too, right? Like that's what their audience learned and understood, and they had to build up to that, like you were saying. Like it had to build up to being able to produce these original shows after everybody was using Snapchat, right?
Yeah.
Just think how great Snapchat would have been if they had said, go 90, turn it, turn it, turn it.
Turn it, turn it.
Turn it.
The Rift Guardians.
Turn the video, turn it. Yeah, Snapchat's a really, really, really good example. And I think Quibi really wants to be Snap. That's really what they wanted to be. And it's a great example of how being sensitive to the culture and the style and the feel and the audience is an absolute requirement. You can't just march in and say, we're going to take it. We make great movies, we know, and great TV shows. We know how to make great content. We're going to make it 7 minutes long and vertical. Watch.
I need to go back.
And it's like,
Well, look at Facebook original shows. Like they threw in so much money
Yes.
as well, and the only show that ended up doing well and is now something bigger is Red Table Talk. Like out of all their shows, that shows the percentage chance of a show making it and hitting it. How much money did they spend? It was like one show that now will be sustainable.
yeah. It's good. I'm glad we have Devendra and Shiron because you both, in different ways, pay close attention. You pay close attention to this stuff. Now it's your turn, Alex Wilhelm, because it's quarterly report time. Here, I thought we would have, given what was the volatility on the stock market, I thought we were going to get these horrific quarterly reports.
I love it.
But we didn't. Apple, $58 billion in revenue, only up 1%, but up is up. Alphabet grew more than expected in Q1, a little bit of a dip in ad business. We knew that would happen. Facebook says significant reduction in demand for ads, but their stock still went up. Twitter sales up 3%, $808 million. So tell us, you got to parse this for us, Alex, because as you can see, as a layman, I don't know what I'm looking for or what I'm looking at. Is it too early to see the COVID hit?
So what we're seeing is the first quarterly earnings that include a bit of COVID. So we're seeing kind of March from these, January, February, March earnings showing some impact.
That's too expensive.
More important was what the company said about what was coming next. And we saw a lot of the reactions more based on what they said was going to happen the rest of the year than what happened kind of in Q1. So, for example, Facebook said, we took a hit in March, but in April, things are roughly flat from a year ago. Wall Street said, okay. Twitter said we took a hit in March, and things are still kind of bad in April, meaning that growth is going to go down or go negative. Twitter fell pretty sharply. So the way people are talking about forecasts is what matters the most. But there's always a bit of nuance in these reports that's fun to pull out. Like Apple grew 1%, but it made a lot more revenue off of services, which is kind of its new push to the future.
$13 billion. Yeah.
$13 billion and change, and it saw less hardware revenue. So we're seeing Apple make less money from selling iPhones and more money from selling iCloud storage. I think they've been trying to do for some time. Now services are supporting the business and keeping it in positive growth territory, even though it's selling fewer iPhones. Cool.
In other words, Apple executed properly. They did exactly what they wanted to do.
It's been a long time coming. It's a long-term bet. It's going to take them several more years to get those revenue lines anything like in the same, area size. But certainly, it saved them this quarter. In Alphabet's case, the ad business struggled some, but there was much funnier things to be found. I mean, for example, Other Bets, which is the collection of Alphabet stuff that isn't Google, saw its revenue decline year over year and also lose $1.1 billion in the quarter, which I thought was
But they've
really,
been doing
really
that
funny.
anyway, haven't they? I mean, they're not a money maker. It's got worse.
No.
Yeah.
The revenue went down, the losses went up, which I thought was
Who
particularly
are going to be
egregious.
the winners in COVID? Netflix? Yeah.
Huge.
Facebook should be a winner. Except ad revenue will be down, but certainly audience. Their daily active users, 1.734 billion.
Wow.
That's astounding.
Well,
Daily.
Absolutely astounding.
Daily. Will Amazon be? That's a good question, Shira.
Well, yeah. After the latest news, it went down, but wasn't it up?
How
It was
will
up pretty
Amazon
sharply.
fare? Yeah, I mean, I've been ordering more on Amazon.
Amazon shares went down after they said they were going to spend $4 billion, I think, in the current quarter on kind of COVID-related costs.